Hey guys, it's Maya from Crypto Cafe, and this is going to be a quick video because I want to touch on the topic of the SEC, you know, being party poopers. So essentially what they did today. Am I sharing my screen a little? Well, this video, I wanted to make it really short and sweet, but I wanted to read a tweet from Tyler Winklevoss, which is the other Winklevoss twin, the co-founder of Gemini Exchange, because the SEC chose to file against Genesis and Gemini for selling securities, which is not the root of why the Gemini Earn products are being held. It's a totally different scenario, and the person in question should have been DCG, but remember the SEC is regulated the Grayscale Trust, which I'm doing a lot of research on this week. I don't even know how this was passed and approved. It's a trust that holds Bitcoin and gives people shares that are at lower price. To me, that's a whole regulatory hot mess expressed on fire, dousing gasoline. But the choice for the SEC to file this with Gemini and Genesis proves that they literally are very, very like they can't read the room when it comes to these situations. And it's like having an officer show up after the assailant has like burned three houses, um, tore down a car, vandalized a wall, and suddenly they're like, "Where's the person? Let's stop the crime." It's like it's a little too late for that, and then what they're saying in response to it isn't the solution. It's not helping. It's not protecting investors. So I'm just going to read over Tyler Winklevoss's tweet because he's saying how none of this is helping investors. It's not leading to solutions, and it actually may cause the situation to make it worse because I think at the end of the day, if DCG for whatever reason didn't make Gemini Earn holders whole, Winklevoss would probably open up their purse and go, and try to rectify the situation. It's just I understand what they're saying, how it's DCG's and Genesis, it's their fault and it's their fix. And however, and they've been doing everything. They sent a letter to the board. They've been openly communicating. They've been putting statements on Twitter. And, it's one thing to be like FTX and like nothing's wrong, everything's fine, but they're being adamant about the root of the issue. They even came with like balance sheet documents, accounting fraud that they found on the behalf of DCG. So they're coming with the receipts, and then this is the SEC's response. Doesn't really help the situation, doesn't really change the situation. And again, the whole blanket label of selling securities. Crypto assets have not been defined as securities, they haven't been defined as anything. So when you keep throwing that word around, you can throw it around all you want. It's not true until you provide regulatory clarity. Up until now, you're just using your lack of clarity to create your own jurisdiction of ruling and fining. But it's not true. People that are they understand securities law and they're in this crypto space, we see what you're doing, and it's getting a little sad. Okay, so now I'm gonna stop rambling and read the tweet. Okay, okay, artichoke. Yeah, I found this to be like, okay, and like, how does this help? Okay, it's disappointing to see, this is Heather Kowals. It's disappointing to see the SEC choose to file an action today as Gemini and other creditors are working hard together to recover funds. They made a plan, they published documents, and then they know that they will go into their own personal holdings to fix it because they understand what's happening. This action does nothing but further our efforts and helps earn users get their asset back. Their behavior is totally counterproductive, as it's been for the past 3 years. As a matter of background, the EARN program was regulated, which is funny, by the NYDFS, and we've been in discussions with the SEC about the EARN program for more than 17 months. So pause. So if they would have found a regulatory issue and you knew about it for over a year, why are you bringing it up now? When it's really not the fault of Gemini. It would be the fault of DCG and Genesis individually, those two themselves. We've been in discussions with the SEC about the EARN program for more than 17 months. They never raised the prospect of any enforcement action until after Genesis paused withdrawals on November 16th. Despite these ongoing conversations, the SEC chose to announce their lawsuit to the press before notifying us. Super lame. It's unfortunate that they're optimizing for political points instead of helping us advance the cause of 340,000 EARN users and other creditors. We look forward to defending ourselves against this manufactured parking ticket. We will make sure this does not distract us from the important recovery work that we are doing. Yeah. But seriously, what is the urgency here? The EARN program has been shut down for almost 2 months. Exactly, too. It's like this lawsuit would have kind of made sense immediately when it happened. Like, what are you doing now? They're doing all the work. They're sending out the letters. They're trying to find a program. They've written to the board asking for Barry Silbert to be removed as the CEO and for the board to revisit how we're going to fix the hole or the gap. He's clarified even how the gap was formed after a reoccurring loss for 3AC, and then DCG and Barry Silbert not fixing the hole and letting it grow, and then lending from Genesis, which is your own subsidiary. You should lending to centralized companies, lending to each other that are like brother and sister or like dad and kid in terms of like business structure. That's basically like shifting money apart. You're like moving money apart without like saying that you're doing so. But that's what it is, because you have to realize if big brother takes from little brother and little brother is insolvent, why are you borrowing from little brother, right? Or are you just shifting debt? Because that's kind of what it seems like. For the avoidance of doubt, Gemini has always worked hard to comply with all relevant cut. For the avoidance of doubt, Gemini has always worked hard to comply with all relevant laws and regulations. Any suggestion to the contrary is unsupported by facts. On a more positive note, Bitcoin hit and on a more positive note, Bitcoin hit 19K today. Onward. I mean, at least he has a good attitude, but they're right. The SEC is just really just picking and choosing. They're making up things, and then their angles, like even with the Sam Bankman securities fraud. No, can you just claim direct fraud so we have accurate charges? They're trying to navigate regulation to these situations when it's like, no, you need to establish proper regulation instead of using these situations to get precedents or get like legal memory or legal structure. Like when we took them to court, we established that this was the security based upon this instead of saying this asset is not a security because it's an entirely new asset class. So instead of doing that, because if they did that, they probably wouldn't have much merit in this space anyway. They keep using these situations and like you sold a security. And it's just so sad because you're not addressing the actual fraud that's happening at hand. And it's actually insane because DCG and Genesis should have been charged, not Gemini, because all they did is create a platform that worked with another one, and the second counterparty is withholding the funds due to their negligence, overletting to 3AC, doing all this stuff, being aware of how it was affecting their balance sheet. We're not even going to get into the whole GBTC thing because I think that's something that I need to spend a whole a whole maybe 20 minutes or so of anyone's time who's wish to watch it cut. I need to talk about the GBTC thing because I'm not even sure how this passed. It's a trust. There's no way to redeem it for BTC. They're making a 2% fee from like managing it. Like there's so many weird things about this. I'm like, this is what you guys approved over an ETF. Like this is like if I create a trust of ETH and I'm going to create Y ETH, and then I'm going to charge everyone a fee and give them shares but not offer any form of redemption. How am I legally able? And I believe the SEC approved this. So I'm just trying to understand what's the rationale happening at the SEC. If the ones that work with you, you're approving weird concepts like FTX and GBTC, is coming to you the best idea if you approve vehicles like this that end up with disaster, decay, financial ruin. I mean, Again, this just proves that the SEC is not qualified to regulate the crypto space, and we need to be appointed a new body that has the mental capacity and ability to view this space and make proper regulation and stop giving bad actors leeway to destroy the space. The only ones hurting the space more than the bad actors is the SEC that co-signs them and doesn't do their due diligence before approving certain products in the space. Sorry, that was a gentle drag, but it's true. Okay, so I will do a follow-up around GBTC because again, I don't like any product where you can't redeem your crypto. Just like go buy the asset itself, right? Always been heavily against it. But when I looked into it, I was like, this just sounds really bad. And like we're giving one person so much leverage with an asset. Yeah, okay. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this wasn't too much of a ramble. Have a nice day, night, or evening. Bye. Like, comment, and subscribe if you love me. Thank you. Okay, bye.